am a betting man, and I wager that you need better underwear. Stick around till the end of this video, though you're probably stuck down there already, for essential info on Sheath underwear, the best skivvies in the biz. Donald Trump has really done a number on the Republican Party. I talked about this yesterday, about Donald Trump's obsession with and rambling about the size and unbelievableness of the late Arnold Palmer's penis. Jesus. The things that I and people in my sphere are forced to talk about just based on the things Donald Trump talks about it's just wild. But Donald Trump has forced Republicans like Mike Johnson into a precarious situation. They want to still maintain the facade, the fake image of them being the party of purity and family values, yet defend Donald Trump's comments about the beautifulness and unbelievableness of the penis of the late Arnold Palmer. The party that wants to ban books that are too pornographic has a leader that is talking about people being shocked at the manhood of Arnold Palmer. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, here's 44 seconds, just very briefly, just to get your feet secure on terra firma of what exactly it is that we're talking about, because it really is kind of an unbelievable moment if you were to remove that it's Donald Trump we're talking about.
And I said, when I come here, I'm going to tell him the real story of Arnold. But Arnold Palmer was all man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this is a guy that was all man. This man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I had to say it. We have women that are highly sophisticated here, but they used to look at Arnold and say, bad, but he was really something special.
Yes. Now, enter Mike Johnson, the pious, righteous man of God who shares his porn content with his son to keep him from abusing himself too often or something, who knows. But here's an interview with Jake Tapper, interviewing the Speaker of the House of Representatives of these United States about the leader of his party talking about the size and gloriousness of the penis of Arnold Palmer, and Mike Johnson really just begging him to stop saying penis. Please, what's he say? Don't say it again. We don't have to say it.
Is this really the closing message you want voters to hear from Donald Trump? Stories about Arnold Palmer's penis?
Well, listen, I think that the headline that I read about the rally in Pennsylvania yesterday was the big question, and it's the one that Kamala Harris has not been able or willing to answer, and that is, are you better off now than you were under the Trump administration 4 years ago? And no one can answer that question with a yes. I mean, no one. And that's why Kamala Harris herself avoids the question. Look, I've been traveling the country nonstop, Jake. I've been in over 230 cities in 40 states right now. And I'm spending these final closing weeks in the swing states, in blue states, in toss-up districts for the House. I'm absolutely convinced. There's an energy out there right now. I'm convinced that we are going to win the White House, the Senate, and the House. And we're going to have a very aggressive agenda to get the economy going again, to help everyone. Look, everywhere I go, Jake, everybody has the same concerns. They're fed up and they're fired up about the cost of living that's unaffordable now, and the rising crime rates everywhere, and the weakness on the world stage, and the wide open border. And they know that Kamala Harris is responsible for those things. And they know that President Trump is offering alternatives. So put the rhetoric aside, look at the record of these two candidates. This shouldn't be about personalities, it should be about policy. And I think people are looking at that seriously, and that's why I'm convinced we're going to win.
I'm sure that you think that a policy debate would be better than a personality debate, but if President Biden had gone on stage and spoke about the size of a pro golfer's penis, I think you would be on this show right now saying you were shocked and appalled, and you would suggest it was evidence of his cognitive decline. I wonder how Trump's remarks, not just the one about Arnold Palmer on his, quote, manhood, but everything we've heard from Trump this week, how it fits in with the analysis that the New York Times offered a few days ago. They looked at his speeches from 2015 and 2016 and looked at his speeches today and said, quote, with the passage of time, the 78-year-old former president's speeches have grown darker, harsher, longer, angrier, less focused, more profane, and increasingly fixated on the past. I know you want to talk about policy, and I respect that, but the reason that Donald Trump is not up 10 points is because of comments like that one, where people do have concerns about his fitness, his acuity, and his stability. Why is he talking about Arnold Palmer's penis in front of Pennsylvania voters?
Jake, you seem to like that line a lot. Let me tell you that Donald Trump is doing rallies nonstop around the country.
Let me just say something. I don't want to be talking about this.
Right.
Donald Trump is out there saying it. It is.
But you continue to. Let's talk about.
Because you won't.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
You won't address it. He is out there talking to voters.
No, I'll address it. Let me answer it. Okay, don't say it again. We don't have to say it. I get it.
There's two things that I want to. Don't say it again. We don't have to say it, Jake. Leave it to Donald Trump to be vile and vulgar and not a leader of the party of purity. So there's two things I want to talk about here. We can get to him begging him to stop saying it, but it's the clumsy, ham-fisted attempt to divert from actually answering the question and talking about the thing Donald Trump talked about. When he says, I think the headline I read about the rally in Pennsylvania was the big question. It's the one that Kamala Harris is not able or unwilling to answer. Is that the headline you read about what took place in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, Mike Johnson? Because I can tell you the headlines I read were, for instance, CBS News, Trump makes vulgar comments about Arnold Palmer at Pennsylvania rally. That seems pretty tame. The LA Times, they put it like this: in closing days of campaign, Trump riffs about Arnold Palmer's genitalia. And the button-down NPR, this was their headline, Trump's restless week on the trail ends with a rally riff about Arnold Palmer's manhood. And then AP, again, kind of right down the middle, no conservative or liberal bent for the Associated Press. Trump kicks off a Pennsylvania rally by talking about Arnold Palmer's genitalia. And yet, Mike Johnson is begging Jake Tapper to not talk about it. He's begging Jake Tapper to suspend reality and talk about anything other than the fact that Donald Trump opened his rally in Latrobe, Pennsylvania with a 12-minute rant about Arnold Palmer, who happens to be from there or was from there. Yesterday in my video, I didn't know whether he was dead or not. I know he's old, or he would be old if he was alive, but apparently he died in 2016. I'm not some biographer of Arnold Palmer. Don't really give two shits. I know he did golf with Donald Trump, and that puts him in suspect territory for me, so whatever. But for Mike Johnson to try to attempt to get Jake Tapper to not repeat the words of the former president of the United States, it's the same thing that we saw when the Access Hollywood tape dropped. And people were saying, grab him by the pussy. And everybody was, you can't say that on TV. The president, Republicans were doing this. Oh, no. You don't have to keep repeating it. You don't have to keep saying it. It offends my righteous sensibilities. These are Donald Trump's words. This is the leader of your party. This is the leader of your movement. This is your revolutionary who, rather than staying on message, like Mike Johnson tried to be disciplined in his messaging, staying on track. Rather than do that, Donald Trump cannot help himself. He rambles and he rants and he raves and he lies. And he talks about the size of Arnold Palmer's dick in an audience that has children in it, as I pointed out yesterday with the Newsmax angle. There was a young girl, a child, right behind Donald Trump with her mother, or you would assume it's the parent. I don't know. But there were certainly kids there, which, there's a debate to be had about who cares. Like, I don't really care, whatever. It wasn't like he was super explicit, but Republicans care. They claim to care. They're the party of family values. They want to spare the think of the children. What do you mean there's a book that acknowledges gay people exist? Oh, we can't have that. The same party that their speaker has an accountability buddy for his porn consumption, and his buddy, his pal, his partner in this is his kid. It's all very weird. It's all very hypocritical. And that is the rub. That's the problem here, is hypocrites, which is just a polite way of saying liars who claim to be one thing when they're actually a completely different thing. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can comment below. That would be fantastic. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I am on the social media @Dollemore. If you're there, I'd love to see you. And stick around for maybe the most fitting advertisement for the sponsor of today's video. If we're talking about dicks, how about to confine them within underwear? Sheath underwear. There are so many unknowns in life. It often feels like a game of chance. Things often turn out differently than expected, despite the best planning or intentions. Interest rates, that fancy bottle of wine you bought, heck, the election, so much feels like a gamble. One thing you do not have to speculate on, your underwear, or mine for that matter. Designed by a U.S. military soldier while in Iraq, a guy who knows something about steaks, Sheath Underwear's dual pouch system ensures your package won't stick to your leg, while also giving everything some space by separating your gambler from his dice. You see what I'm doing here? Thanks to this testicular tech, Sheath has successfully been protecting your most valuable assets for over 10 years. They are recommended by multiple doctors and urologists and have over 20,000 five-star reviews from customers like me. I'm one of those 20,000 reviews. My sheaths have been with me through thick and thin, both before I was a bit heavier than I am now, and now as the leaner version of me. Trademark or copyright that. I love these things. I think that's pretty clear. So no more garment gambling, all right? Head to sheathunderwear.com/Dollemore to score 20% off. You don't need to be a high roller. You see the theme here, the gambling and the dice and the... It's good, right? You don't have to be a high roller to have unbeatable underwear. My go-tos are the Airflow Mesh, but Sheath has tons of excellent styles and designs. All sheaths are backed by a 2-year warranty and will land on your doorstep near instantly thanks to blindingly fast shipping, which is free in the United States on orders over $75. Also, your purchase actually does affect positive change, and this is very important. Sheath supports multiple charities like Socks for Soldiers and Doctors Without Borders, so you're winning for the world too when you buy from Sheath. Don't roll the dice on your drawers. Score 20% off right now when you head to sheathunderwear.com/Dollemore. Real change starts with you and, believe it or not, your package. Upgrade your undergarments to Sheath.